Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Egon Barthels. Welcome to our weekly edition of Guadalupe Valley Views. I'm joined today by Erik McCowan. It's great to catch up with you again. Thanks for taking time to join me this week.
Thanks for having me back, Egon. I do appreciate it.
You are director of this movie production that you put together called Dancehall Days.
That's correct. It's a feature-length documentary shot entirely by myself. When you do a documentary, you can have people to work with you, or you can do it yourself. And as I got started on this back in 2014 and told the guy that was leading me around to these dance halls, I've got a camera and some time, let's do this. So it's a DIY endeavor, and have been very happy to work on it and now show it to people all across the Central Texas area and beyond.
This past Saturday, and I wish that we could have caught up before the showing of the event, but you had a screening at Weed Hall. Weed is W-I-E-D. It's a community located between Shiner and Hallettsville on Highway 90 alternate. And one of the things that was said there was every time you lose a dance hall, you lose a piece of Texas history.
That was actually by a gentleman who has the old Wessels Hall, which now resides just north of Austin. Came from a place called West Point, kind of on the way to LaGrange if you're heading from the Smithville area. But there's so many characters in that film, and they're all pro dancehall. They want to see these structures continue. They want to see them thrive. And Steve acted it, and this gentleman, he's actually the guy who said that was the president of Jordan Bachman Pioneer Farms. And the way that he helped save the dance hall in the history is they actually moved the hall from West Point here a few years ago, brought it to this pioneer village so it can live on as a new dance hall. They redid it just a little bit, just to put it on good pier and beam, but really didn't change the character of it. And they hope to have it last another 100 years just for the history of the structure.
Some of the folks that you have in the movie, one is a guy, Texas country music singer Kevin Fowler. Kevin, outside of performing on stage at many of these dance halls, in your movie, he was talking about how he would like to take one of these old buildings and put it back to use. And since the film was produced, he's actually done that with he's built his own dance hall out at one of his places.
And I saw him the other day, and I talked to him about that because I want to get out there and look at his dance hall and maybe record a little segment on that. It's funny with him because I'd been talking to him, not that he knows me, I'm just a guy with a camera making a movie here, but he wanted a dance hall of his own for so long and wanted to move one out there. And so that was one of the initial parts of the film is let's find a man or a woman or somebody who wants to buy an old dance hall, like a cistern hall that's decrepit and for sale, and wants to move it, and that's like the centerpiece of the film. They're moving this dance hall. Well, it didn't actually go that way, but we did find a dance hall that was being moved, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but you watch the film, you're going to see a dance hall that goes from point A to point B, and it's fabulous. It's spectacular. But yeah, Fowler, he couldn't find one to buy and move, so he built his own out of old barnwood and tin, and I hear it's a real spectacular place.
How many dance halls do you cover in this movie, Dancehall Days?
We cover 56 dance halls in the film, and of that, most of them are there in their current form. There are some that have been dismantled and they're wood, used for other things over time, like several halls up around Fayetteville, some wonderful old halls. But they were torn down in the 20s and 30s, back when they were still new. What are you going to do with the dance hall? They weren't dance halls at the time; they were community centers. That's why these halls were built. They were just like in the small room they're in right now. They built a hall this big. It's a community center. Anhalt Hall, one of the oldest dance halls and one of the biggest, grandest dance halls in Texas, out west of New Braunfels, started as nothing more than a gathering place where the old Germans, at that time probably still young Germans, would get together and talk about cattle brands, cattle rustling, seeds they were planting. It was a place to get together and trade. And then, on a Friday night, well, my cousin's band's going to play. Can he come play in here? And we'll listen. And so bands started playing. And over time, it got to be a place where a band would play. So it turned from a community center into a dance hall. And like Anhalt started from a small room like this, and you can tell your listeners, this room isn't very big. But they added on to it because they figured, we can put more people in it. We can expand. And if you look at that hall, it's got at least 4 to 5 different expansions on it, where there is a kitchen, a dining room, the dance hall, the new kitchen that, every 30 years, the membership decided they needed more. And it's one of the grand dams of the dance halls.
This was the entertainment during that era.
That's right. And, everything I've learned and everything I talk about in this film, and I don't talk much in the film, other people do, but what I present in the film, the information was given to me by Steve, by a man named Patrick Sparks, by these other people who run these dance halls. So, I'm just the latest, in a series of people who've been taught these things, and hopefully this film is to teach more people. But the interesting thing about Club 21, which we talked about the other night, remember when they said, well, Turner Hall down in Yoakum? I didn't realize there were more Turner Halls like in Fredericksburg. Turner Hall comes from the German Turnverein, which is a social gymnastic type of workout hall where you go and you play a sport. Club 21, which I just was told orally, is an old Turnverein, and then built from the old days. And then someone bought it more recently, the 80s, 90s, whatever it was, and then it changed it into Club 21. So it was a Turnverein before it was modernized, and that's why the bowling alley was in it.
Is it something that kind of people overlook and they miss? And what is it that you can say, hey, man, you got to go see these things and support them?
They do miss it, and I missed it for many years. I was raised in the country. I like to dance, but I was not raised with that German lineage, and I was raised in a part of the world near Rosanke, Smithville, which is kind of barren of dance halls because it did not have that German settlement there, that Czech settlement that you would see in a Lavaca County or in Fayette County or near Fredericksburg, Gillespie County. And so people forget. They take it for granted. They see a dance hall and they're like, oh, that's where you go and you dance and you see a band. But like when I started the film, I did not know that heritage. I didn't know that they were run by a Verein, by a board. And you learn about these things. And so, people sort of take it for granted, but then there's a lot more people who want to get to these dance halls. They want to learn more. They just need the information. And that's why I do some dance hall tours. We have one coming up on January the 19th. I try to get people to the dance halls. Other people have written books about it. It seems like dance halls are the latest, greatest thing. Everybody's talking about them. And so I'm not pretending to be, like the new guy here, but it's just I've just done a different medium on it.
What are some of the things that you've seen with some of these halls as far as revitalization is concerned?
It's amazing, what people can do. We look at so many different levels on revitalizing these dance halls, and you've got Park Hall, Hrushka's at Park, owned by the Hrushka family. Park is this ghost town up near Lake Fayette. And it's no longer there because half of the town is under the lake. But the dance hall remains, owned by a family. They decided a few years ago to bring it back to its glory because one of their children was getting married. And my goodness, you can see part of the process in the film, but what you don't see in the film is the after effect, what they did to this hall. I'd love to take you there. It is like you walk in, and it's like it was just built in the 1920s. I mean, what they did was phenomenal. You go down to Schrader, and that's a person saying that I've been at this hall. I want it to look good again. I want it to be popping again. And they did something magic there. You look at Swiss Alp, and the new owner's taken that from, it was a cool dance hall before, but now they've added stuff to it to make it a fun kind of type of wedding venue. And, people might look at that and go, well, you ruined it because you put a concrete foyer in it. And I'm like, okay, that might not be your cup of tea, but would you rather be 10 Hall in Houston that gets torn down and never seen again? People are redoing these dance halls. Zap Hall, home of the Gypsy Prom. There's a husband and wife that have that, and they've got great ideas. They're trying to bring it back. It just takes time, for them to bring bands there, to bring music there, and they're working on it. And then places like Round Top Rifle Hall, where you have an active board that are getting together and finally saying, hey, we can do a hamburger night. We could bring in Molly B and Squeeze Box and do these things and really make it cool. And I think you see that at Weed Hall, too, where you have a younger generation that are getting involved, the shareholders, and they're really wanting to do something cool. And you see that with the beginning of the historical marker. And I guarantee in 10 years from now, Weed Hall is going to be a different place because there's going to be new blood, new mind, new thoughts, and they're going to bring it back. And Weed Hall is going to have another 100 years of just like awesomeness.
How can we find out more information on your film and learn about dance halls and learn how we can help with the dance hall projects?
You can check out, I've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/dancehalls. And yes, I talk a lot about, my film. But I also, if I follow all the dance halls. If they're having a dance, I will share it. If they're having an event, I'll share it, because people need to know about that. The more that people share this stuff on social media that these dance halls are trying to do, the better. I do have a website, dancehallroadtrip.com. It's got a lot of stuff on there, but it's not the ultimate database.
But while you say Dancehall Road Trip, that goes back to what you were talking about just moments ago, about you guys are planning a Dancehall Road Trip. Talk to me about how this operation works. Where do I get tickets? Where are we going? What's the itinerary?
The Dancehall Road Trip would not exist if it wasn't for Steve Dean, because in the film, we go on a dancehall tour with Steve Dean in the van, big van, 15 people. And once upon a time, I said, Steve, me and you could go gangbusters on this. We could make $1 billion on these dancehall tours, but how about we get a bus? Maybe we could make it a fundraiser for the film. I don't want to rip you off, but could we do that? Would you allow me to do this? He's like, yeah, let's do it. Can I come on? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we did some dance hall tours. Well, I did some dance hall tours, and Steve came along, and it was great because he got to come on a tour without him doing the tour. He just got to sit there, and then I could sit on the bus and be like, legend over here, Steve Dean, talk to him. And so Steve Dean is a promoter, so him talking to people made his day. So the dance hall road trip is absolutely 100% Steve Dean. It's not a new thing. It's been done before. So, like I said, I stand on the shoulders of geniuses there. But dancehallroadtrip.com. You go there. It just tells you what we do on the dance hall road trip. We load up a bus. We'll pick you up. We'll take you to like 4 or 5 dance halls, plus a beer joint or 2 along the way, en route to a dance or a picnic. And the goal is that each dance hall we stop at, that is information that you get to come back on your own. You get a packet, and you get to look at these dance halls, and it's in your mind now, so you get to come back to like an Albert Hall or a Twin Sisters Hall and enjoy them when we're not going. And then we'll go to a picnic at Cat Spring or Millheim or a dance at Anhalt, and you're like, oh, I had no idea this existed, but I will come back. Just like when you were young and you're introduced to a new thing, a new place. That's what the dance hall trip is for. The tickets are like $75 to get on the bus. It includes the pass to the dance, and we just go out for like 10 hours and have fun.
People need to see this, because people drive by this every day and have no clue on what happens at places like this.
They don't. I drove by Weed Hall on one of Steve's tours. Had no idea. I drove by Park Hall for years in high school and afterwards going to the lake. And I saw a big white structure. Oh, it looks like a dance hall. Something in the back of my mind said, oh, that's interesting. Something happened there one time. It's a historical structure, but I never gave two thoughts to it. And then 20 years later, I'm magically back there when they're moving it. Drive by Swiss Alp all the time. Yeah, okay, it's a dance hall. It'll be there tomorrow. Really? Look at the Fredericksburg Turnverein. It's no longer there. Look at Club 21. Look at Grinnell. Look at New Bela. Well, it'll be there tomorrow. Not necessarily. Look at Cistern. It'll be there tomorrow. No, it's still there. Can you go in it? Not really. You could. The door's off of it, but it's dilapidated. It's in ruins. That's what people think, that stuff will always be there. And in this electronic life that we live, yeah, it'll be there tomorrow. But this is tangible Texas made out of wood. Pier and beam. Might not be there tomorrow. We hope it is. But you better get out there on New Year's Eve, on Christmas, at the next wedding, and the next picnic, because if you're not, you might not ever again.
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I will say this, you can go to my website or Facebook, find out about some dances. If you want to find out more about some dance halls that are out there, there's a database at texasdancehall.org. That's the Texas Dance Hall Preservation that was founded by Steve Dean and Patrick Sparks. They have a pretty good list if you just want to get out there. But until then, just get on social media and see what other dance halls are having out there, because they're all out there and they're doing their thing. And there's some 30-year-old that's trying to use the Facebook and put Deanville Hall out there. Deanville is having a dance on New Year's Eve. So if you can't find a dance hall on New Year's Eve, you ain't looking hard enough.
Eric, thank you, man. I appreciate it a whole bunch.
Thank you. And like I said, just go to a dance hall. They're out there. Don't forget them.
Thanks, Eric. Erik McCowan, the director and producer of the movie Dance Hall Days, on this week's edition of Guadalupe Valley Views. Now in the Sosentex Weather Center with your weekend weather forecast, let's check in now with meteorologist Bill Hickey.
Winds will gradually come down. Temperatures, which ran from the 70s and 40s, will drop down into the 50s and 30s, but rebound for the weekend back into the 60s. Overnight lows move out of the upper 30s into the low 40s. Got another front, a weak one about next Monday, and a more substantial one next Wednesday.